So last Friday, Mark Pomerantz, the former prosecutor at the Manhattan DA's office, who, as we all know, very publicly and famously resigned last year after Alvin Ba Bragg refused to go after Donald Trump. He has a book out explaining everything that was happening at the time and why he's so pissed off at Bragg. But he was subpoenaed recently, as we all know, by Jim Jordan with the House Judiciary Committee. And even after Alvin Bragg tried to block the subpoena and a judge said no, Pomerantz decided, you know what, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do this. And on Friday, he sat for 6 hours. 6 hours behind closed doors, of course, because they don't want this one on TV in case Pomerantz, revealed all of the other Trump crimes that he talked about in his book. So we had to be very careful, the Republicans thought, to make sure we don't make Trump look bad. So we're going to do this big old hearing without the cameras present. So there's major red flag number one for you. But during his 6-hour testimony to that House Judiciary Committee to talk about the so-called weaponization of the justice system against Donald Trump specifically, Pomerantz actually didn't say much. Now, as I had said, I expected Pomerantz to basically go in there, metaphorical, guns blazing, and just laying out all the crimes that he allegedly uncovered, that Trump allegedly committed. He decided not to go that route. Even though he did take a couple shots at both the committee and, of course, specifically Jim Jordan, pointing out some potentially criminal behavior in Jim Jordan's past, Pomerantz, for the most part, pleaded the fifth and gave very short, non-committal answers to most of the questions. But here is how he opened up his 6-hour testimony. This deposition is for show. We're gathered here because Donald Trump supporters would like to use these proceedings to attempt to obstruct and undermine the criminal case pending against him and to harass, intimidate, and discredit anyone who investigates or charges him. This is neither the time nor place for me to answer questions about the investigation or the pending indictment over the objection of the prosecutors. And once it was all said and done, Republicans were pissed off. Republican Darrell Issa said, quote, "I've never had a more obstructive and less cooperative witness in my over 20 years in Congress." Matt Gaetz said that we're not getting many answers. Jim Jordan only had this to say. He said, "I guess in some ways I was surprised at some of the positions he took." And that was the end of it. And we didn't see these Republicans going out there on the Sunday morning talk shows, because again, this happened on Friday. They weren't going out there on the Sunday morning talk shows saying, "Oh, we got Alvin Bragg. Pomerantz gave us everything." They were very tight-lipped about it because it did not go the way that they wanted it to. And I'm willing to bet that there was one specific part that Jim Jordan did not think was going to happen. And that was the point when Mark Pomerantz decided to bring up the fact that Jim Jordan himself, the chair of the committee, actually defied a subpoena just 1 year ago when the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot sent a subpoena to Jordan and said, "You have to come and testify to us. Even though you're a member of the House where this committee sits, we have to issue you a subpoena because you have refused to voluntarily come and talk to us about what you knew, because we know you were involved with some discussions with the White House." Jim Jordan simply didn't comply with the subpoena. He did not show up. He did not testify. And by all accounts, that is a crime. It is illegal to ignore a subpoena from an investigatory body that actually has legal authority, which that special select committee did have. So Pomerantz brought that up and threw it right back in Jim Jordan's face like, "Hey, listen, I know I didn't want to sit here with this subpoena, but let's not forget, buddy boy," he didn't call him buddy boy, I kind of wish he would, that you actually did even worse last year. So you're sitting at the head of this committee now when you basically committed a criminal act. You were not charged or prosecuted, so we can't officially call you a criminal, but that was a criminal act to ignore that subpoena. And I'm supposed to sit here and take you seriously? Not to mention all of the other other stuff in Jim Jordan's past that is, highly suspect, but good on Pomerantz. And for the record, in case anybody's saying, well, why did Pomerantz plead the fifth? Is he involved in crimes? Actually, no. The reason he pleaded the fifth, or pled the fifth, I don't know how you say it, but anyway, he chose to go with the fifth because if he had divulged any information about the ongoing investigation and the indictments, that is actually against the law in the state of New York. He can talk about the ones that they didn't do, just like he did in his book. But if he talks about or mentions anything that is evidence or any part of what has been charged against Donald Trump right now, he could be criminally charged for that. So that's why he pleaded the fifth, not because he was worried he committed a crime, but because he didn't want to commit a crime in front of the committee by violating New York law. So that's why he pled the fifth. So that's what that was. It's not because he did anything wrong. It's that he was trying to avoid doing something wrong. Republicans are pissed. Jim Jordan looks like an idiot. And of course, Republicans are staying silent about it because it did not go at all as they had hoped. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel. We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.